Well, welcome everyone to the Owensboro Board of Commissioners regular meeting August 6th. At this time, we'll ask City Clerk Beth Cecil to please call the roll.
Commissioner Jeff Sanford.
Here.
Commissioner Larry Conder.
Here.
Mayor Tom Watson.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Larry Magliner.
Here.
Commissioner Pam Smithwright.
Here.
Thank you. If you please stand and pray with me, we're going to do the invocation and the pledge to the flag. Heavenly Father, we gather tonight, first and foremost, to give you thanks for all our blessings. We try mightily to serve you in the capacity of elected officials of this wonderful community. As our nation mourns the tragic loss of life and the injured as well from the past weekend in El Paso and Dayton, we pray for these communities to try and make sense out of a senseless act. So I humbly ask you to pause with me tonight for a moment of silence as they deal with the hardship of losing loved ones. Thank you. We gratefully acknowledge what a beautiful faith-based, family-friendly community we are blessed to have here in OBKY, notwithstanding our own issues. So I say to you tonight, may the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, let us keep our hearts and minds in the knowledge and the love of God and of His Son, Jesus Christ. May the blessings of God Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be amongst us and remain with us all the days of our life. In His name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item on the fourth item on the agenda is presentations tonight. At this time, I would call Mark Crabtree to the podium. Please state your name and address for the record and do your thing.
Thank you. Mark Crabtree, 320 Hill Avenue, Owensboro, Kentucky.
Attaboy.
Well, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, sports tourism is really important to Owensboro, to our economy, and to the community as a whole. And there's three really important components to that. The most important is having a quality facility, and so the city, we can't salute the city enough for that investment that you're making for next year, and we're really excited about that. The second component is going to be having a quality parks department and collaboration with the CVB in booking this facility. And one of the third most important components is to have quality event managers that bring good events to Owensboro and the folks that are loyal to Owensboro. And that's what keeps to generate that economic impact. And so today, part of that success is with Trish and John Grass. They're event planners and event managers, and they've brought several events here this past year, and then they have an award they would like to make today for you.
Thanks,
so,
Mark.
Trish and John.
Trish and John. Don't y'all hold it against him when he says where he's from now, okay?
I'm a Hoosier.
You got a blue shirt on, though, don't you?
I'm a Hoosier. We were at a restaurant here the other night, and actually what's today, Tuesday? It was Saturday afternoon. 4 people walked by the car show with UK shoes on, and I made a mention to Tricia, does everybody in this town wear UK apparel?
That's right.
So anyway, I'm John Grass. This is my wife, Tricia. Tricia and I own 3 Up, 3 Down events. We're based out of Tell City, Indiana. We run about 30 events a year at all various locations, Indiana, Illinois, and one of our favorites is in Kentucky. May 18th of 2019, prior to the season, Tricia and I made a pledge as we march forward in this business adventure to earmark at least one event each year to special people. This year, we named our event, which is the second year for the event, is the Armed Forces Tribute event. Okay, and I'll read you a few stats from the event. On May 18th, we had 131 boys and girls team attendance within Owensboro, Henderson, and Newburgh, Indiana. Tina Van Hoosier, and I'll introduce our staff here at the end, came up with the idea that she would like to support the troops. And I gave her that initiative, and I said, Tina, go. Do whatever you got to do to make it work. Tina organized she organized categories for each team and each age group at each location to bring a certain set of items. At the end of the event was over, I looked at her and I was unsure of how we was going to get all this stuff home. We had everything from beef jerky to hair shampoo. We filled 7, I'm going to say, refrigerator boxes full of goods. In excess of 350 pounds, we shipped all of those items overseas to our troops. Okay?
Excellent.
There was 3 items that we got comments back. In each box, or of 3 of the boxes, I placed a USSSA baseball with Mayor Tom's autograph on it. I got letters back from each of those thanking Mayor Tom. So, Mayor, thank you for putting in your 2 cents. It did make a difference.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So, okay. During this event, we had rain, we had all sorts of things. We normally don't start our events on Friday. This one, we got some teams together and we were able to start on Friday. So that gave us an award ceremony on late Saturday night. The event was earmarked to start on Saturday morning. It actually started on Friday, but Mayor Tom came out Saturday morning and attempted to throw out the first pitch.
Thank you very much. The rotator cuff, man. The catcher goes, really? Little league distance. No
So
less.
Saturday night, we finished up one age group. It was about 10:30.
At least.
Yep. And Mayor Tom made his presence back to give out the awards for that set of teams. So again, marching forward, these things used to be baseball tournaments, softball tournaments. They're no longer tournaments, they're events. Mark, the city, the Parks Department, enforce going together. That's what we're trying to unite and create bigger and better events that last longer and bring more attention to your city. So that's one of our initiatives in 2020. And I think we have all the ingredients. We just got to make it all work. So we're very blessed. We have a good product, and we have great people around us. And at this time, I would like to give our staff a shout out because they get shouted at a lot, but never shouted out. So, okay. So one of our head UICs, baseball UIC, is Mr. David Fisher. His lovely wife, which David can't spell computer. So his lovely wife, Carrie, carries the load. She does all the spreadsheets for the umpire pay. She does everything. She does an excellent job. I can't say enough about her. Without him, I'm not sure. So, Carrie, thank you. James Knox, you know, James is one of our head umpires, and one of the few things that we always forget about in youth sports is these guys give a lot of time, but they also, you know, we pay them. James told me in the lobby, Tina congratulated him, and he said something that stuck with me. He said he engaged to his wife over the weekend. And Tina said, congratulations. And he said, no, you need to thank John and Trish because without the extra umpire pay, I could have never afforded a ring. So, you know, that sounds kind of cliche, but it's kind of important. It really is. Because if you really understand, we do this for a profit, and I'm never going to tell anybody we don't. But, you know, there's some really nice side stories that goes along with it. So I thought that was important to share. Robert Littlepage, he's a UIC, lives in Madisonville, does an excellent job. He does our softball umpires between him and Fish. They're responsible for probably last year at any certain event, we probably had well over 120 umpires on anywhere from 20 to 40 fields. So they do an excellent job, and I can't say enough about them, okay? Tina Van Hoosier is our event coordinator. She does so much that I can't even pronounce it. She's in the office next to me. She's on the phone all the time. If there's a team that calls in that I don't really want to talk to, I'll say, Tina, can you get this one? So,
I'll just pick it out.
so sometimes she just knows. But getting back to why we're really here, again, Tricia and I think it's important, and our staff thinks it's important that we give back to where we grow at. And with all the goods we sent overseas, I earmarked in the budget a certain amount of money, and by gosh, we're going to give it back to the people that deserve it, okay? Mr. Police Chief, could you stand up for us, please? What's your name?
Chief.
Chief. Well, this afternoon I was sitting in my office and I was writing some cliff notes, and I have a very good friend of mine that is a Indiana State police officer. He came in my office, comes in the store all the time. He's always spreading some BS and just a good guy. I call him G.I. Joe. Last fall, he came in the office and he was in civilian clothes and he had mud and dirt all over him and he looked like he'd been thrown in the river. And I asked him, Trey, what in the world happened? And he said, well, I was going up to Cannleton and we had been watching an area and we believed that there was a suspect in there. There was a suspect in there cooking meth. He spotted him, stopped his car, called for backup, went in the woods, chased him, got him. Long story. But my question to Trey was, Trey, he could have hid behind any tree and shot you. So how do you do this on a daily basis? How do you get up in the morning, put your uniform on, you have to put a bulletproof vest on, and you go and get in your car and do what you do all day long? And he said, John, I'm a cop. It's just what I do. And I said, how do you kiss your wife and kids goodbye in the morning, not knowing what's going to happen during your day? Most of us, every day, pretty much are guaranteed that we're probably not going to be faced with some sort of a dilemma that these guys get that could potentially be involved in. So that's one thing that's very dear, that kind of touched base with me, and I talked to Tara later, a week or so later, and I went over, and I said, how do you do this? And she said, I married a cop. That's just what we are. We know that every day we take that chance. So, Chief, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it, okay? Come on up. We're going to give you something that will hopefully help your department.
One more. In my back pocket you can cash in. Well, that knocked me out of the picture.
On the second leg of our adventure, we felt like we were kind of leaving somebody out. The police department does a great job When I was a young man, before Trish and I were married, I was probably 22, 23, I was asked to be on a volunteer fire department in Troy, Indiana. My father had served for 20, 25 years. He retired. I said, sure, why not? You know, I live there. I work 3 miles from there. Sure, no problem. I was on the department for probably 2 years, and right behind the Catholic Church in Troy, Indiana, is where Mr. Baker lived. We played basketball against Mr. Baker's building. He had a basketball goal up in the court, and we played the churchyard, and that's where the goal was. One Sunday afternoon, the fire alarm went off. That's before pagers, that's before everything. It was the town whistle went off. Mr. Baker's house is on fire. Okay? I'm not sure how, but I was the first one there. Mr. Baker he was come out of the back of the house, come to the front of the house and said, Dorothy's in there. Okay. Truck got there, we put on the air mask, went in. She was exactly where he said she was. Exactly. Unfortunately, it was too late. That was a sight. I'm 53 years old. I was 22 or 23 years old, and I can still see that sight of Dorothy. I mean, I knew her like my mother. We played in her backyard just about every day when we were younger. So, with that being said, the fire departments do a lot, and I don't think that they get the recognition that sometimes that they have to live with some of the things that they see in their everyday jobs. So with that being said, we think that the fire department is a special, it's an armed forces to us. It saves us. It does a lot for us. So at this time, Chief, we got an award we got a presentation for you, okay? And I'm hoping that you put it to good use and save some lives going forward, okay? All right. We have $750 going to each department. The departments, it's their money. They're going to figure out how they're going to spend it. So hopefully both of them are going to come back up and tell us what they're going to do with it. So.
That picture, Mayor?
Half her face.
Well,
Thanks, Mitch, as much as
You
already.
want to tell us, I'm done speaking. You want to tell them what we're going to do, that will be great.
Thank you very much. For the fire department, when we learned of this great gift, it didn't take the firefighters long to figure out. We know they're doing this and honoring us, and we appreciate that, but we're putting it right back in the community. We're here to save lives, and they're going into smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors going in people's homes. So thank you.
El Presidente.
exactly.
Artie Elam, Chief of Police. Thank you so much for your kind gift. On behalf of the Owensboro Police Department, we thank you again. We will be using this to give back to the community as well. Every summer, at the end of the school year, we host Camp Cops at Camp Schaefer, where we take our youth to this camp and they spend a week with police officers. And that just helps build community trust. So thank you. I think it'll be used wisely and greatly.
Thank you, John.
That's kind of it for us, guys. Again, thank you. Hopefully we're invited back to give another event.
Well, you can stay the rest of the night.
Bigger and better. Sorry.
You can stay the rest of the night. I mean.
Out here before the politics starts.
Well, I tell you, I've been.
Thank you, Owensboro. You guys did a great job with the city of Owensboro. Beautiful downtown. You got a lot of good things going. Mayor,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay? Appreciate it.
I tell you what, I've been around ball diamonds all my life, and I've been very few tournaments, events, whatever you want to call it, that was run any better with a faith-based initiative, and the young people played well, the coaches were respectful. I ain't saying too much about the umpiring because I've got a thing about them, but we appreciate you coming to our community, and we welcome you back anytime. Thank you, Mark.
That's who we are and what we are. Thank you, guys.
See
You guys have a great evening.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is an Outstanding Service Award. This time I'm going to read a little synopsis of Mr. West Crabtree, network engineer. Wes began his career with the City of Owensboro IT department in August of 1992. At that time, computer networking operations was still in their infancy. But Wes possessed the vision of what needed to happen to prepare the City of Owensboro, RWRA, OMPC, and others for what has become business as usual in the 21st century. Over the course of his 27 years of service, Wes served as lead network engineer while the municipal network grew and developed by leaps and bounds. In the early days, Wes was at the forefront of the initiative to interconnect all city-owned facilities via fiber optic cable. That action paved the way for the development of today's municipal network made up of 80-plus file servers, whatever that is, 600-plus PCs and laptops, and mobile computer platforms serving both OPD and OFD, and a multitude of behind-the-scenes systems to support the entire operation. Always striving to enhance and improve the reliability and the security of the municipal network, Wes was truly the man behind the curtain that kept things humming along. He will certainly be missed by his co-workers in IT, but his legacy will be felt with every business as usual passing day. Thank you, Wes. I've got a little proclamation for you if you'll come forward. They were told that you didn't talk because you was always used to fooling with the computer. Okay, this is the certificate of outstanding service. I recognize Wes Crabtree and extend its grateful appreciation for your outstanding service, faithfully rendered by authority of the City of Owensboro from 1992 to 2019. All those who reside in the City of Owensboro, Kentucky are asked to join in this recognition of appreciation. Since the day of August 2019, is signed by all the elected officials. Congratulations. You're welcome to speak to the podium if you like. Okay, next item on the agenda is to consider the approval of the minutes dated 16 July 2019. I'll make a motion to approve. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 6 is ordinance, second reading. We have none. Item 7 is the first reading. There will be no vote. Item 7A, Counselor.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Ordinance 25-2019, an ordinance adopting a private development policy, establishing requirements for development plan review, permits, bonds, sidewalks, paving, sewer systems, drainage, and other infrastructure for current and new residential developments. Introduced and publicly read on first reading this 6th day of August 2019.
Thank you, Counselor. At this time, I recognize the Leland Hancock, Assistant City Manager, to fill in the blanks.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
I've got to give some credit. The home builders have been great to work with. This is something they approached us with, making some changes to make Owensboro more business friendly. I know Kevin Collier and Wayne Shelton both have played a major role in this, as Kevin and Wayne both are kind of the keepers and overseers of this particular policy. You know, when we talk about making Owensboro more business friendly, you have to consider that the individuals over here to our right and all those involved in the Home Builders Association work to develop Owensboro and help Owensboro grow. And our success is tied to their success. So a lot of the changes we made tonight, some of it were just verbiage changes where we'd referred to OMPC. We now refer to the City Engineer's Office. We've clarified residential lot developments into single-family attached condominiums and townhouses. A lot of these verbiage changes were directly reflected from responses from the home builders. We have relaxed the 5% maintenance bond waived on sidewalks for residential lots. But we've protected the city in doing that by having a different individual particular performance bond so that the concrete or sidewalks in front of those houses are ensured that it's installed, and we tie that to the CO, which is the certificate of occupancy for those homes, so that we're protected to ensure that they do their job and we do our job as well from the inspection side. We've had no issues from many of the developers here, and Kevin and Wayne were pretty protective of giving up some of that freedom, and rightfully so. In the past there have been a few, but I have to say we've got an exceptional group here in front of us, and Manuel Ball is actually here tonight as well to speak on how it actually affects their side of the house.
Okay. Mr. Ball, would you like to speak? State your name and address for the record, please.
Manuel Ball, 4573 Fountain View Trace. I'd like to say thank you to really the elected officials here, as a representative of the home builders and Jago Homes. Who you see here has done a lot of the single-family residential development throughout the community, and this particular ordinance is going to do a lot to help that. It actually frees up more credit to actually move forward on projects. It's a great thing. The elected officials here I think we've met with everyone. Everyone was very kind to come meet with us and spent time. We spent a lot of time with both Nate and Leland and Wayne Shelton and Kevin Collian. We feel like the home builders has a great relationship with the city engineer and their department. We're very thankful that you all are entertaining this idea at this point in time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anything else,
Any other
Bigfoot?
questions? Short and
Questions
sweet.
from the dais? Okay, thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda is municipal orders. We do not have any. Next item would be city manager item. City Manager Nate Pagan, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Today we have the following personnel appointments. Seth Fleener, probationary full-time non-civil service appointment to Assistant Recreation Facilities Manager with Parks Department effective August 13th. Corey Grant, regular full-time non-civil service appointment to Lieutenant with the Fire Department effective August 5th. Pamela Green, regular full-time non-civil service appointment to Revenue Clerk with the Finance Department effective August 13th. And Leland Hancock, regular full-time non-civil service appointment to Assistant City Manager effective August 13th.
Would anybody like to make a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Can I have a second, please? Any discussion? Leland, I guess you're in. Okay. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
I thought you were going to do it.
Huh?
I thought you were going to do it.
I wouldn't have. Yeah, city manager comments, please.
Mayor, I do have one additional comment. As the commission knows, we have an outstanding finance department, and we know and see that on a daily basis, but it is nice when others recognize their work as well. I believe you have 2 recent awards that they've received to present to them.
Yes, sir. I'm going to recognize Angela Hamrick right now and say the City of Owensboro has been awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for its comprehensive annual financial report, CARF, from the Government Finance Officers Association, GFOA, of the United States and Canada. This is the highest form of recognition in the area of government accounting and financial reporting, and it represents a significant accomplishment by the government and its management. This makes the 38th time that the City of Owensboro has been awarded this certificate. City of Owensboro also has been awarded the GFOA Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for its budget from the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada. This award represents a significant achievement by the city's management and staff. In order to receive the budget award, the city had to satisfy nationally recognized guidelines for effective budget presentation. This award represents the 19th consecutive budget award for the city. So let's hear it for those folks one time.
Well, and if I could, Mayor? As far as what we call the CAFR, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, I just wanted to recognize our Deputy Director of Finance and Support Services, Danae Galloway, and Tim Goff, our Assistant Finance Manager. They're both in our viewing audience, and also Whitney Brown, who was not able to make our meeting. There's a lot of work that goes into the audit that kind of like IT, it's the unsung heroes behind the curtains. In the budget, you know, I wanted to extend a thank you to everyone, all the department heads. That truly is, it's a wider, broader scope project. And so I just wanted to extend a thank you to everyone who makes these awards possible. I'm done.
And Angela, I do believe that we lead the state in both categories for the number of times we've received these particular awards.
Yes, that's exactly correct. As far as the CAFR, which is the audit report, there is approximately 13 cities, and we have our 38th award, and the next closest is 35. As far as the budget, there's I have record of 4 cities in the state, and we have our 19th, and the next consecutive was 10. So we've been in this program leading the way, leading the charge, if you will, for quite some time.
Gotta go stand.
Very special award. Okay. Item 9B, I guess, city manager comments.
Mayor, that was my comment, so no additional comments tonight.
I know, but I thought maybe you wanted to say something else. I mean, like the beard you're growing or something. Doesn't that look good on him? Yeah, I think it looks good. Next item is a communication from elected officials. Commissioner Pam Smith-Wright, please.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
I'd just like to say that this is the 8th year for my Give a Hand, Pay It Forward campaign here in Owensboro, and it's about doing something nice for someone else. And I want to just tell you a little story. My husband and I went to Greenup, Kentucky over the weekend, and my husband's on dialysis, and we have a portable machine and all this stuff, and we have to take all these different things with us. And if you don't know where Greenup is, it's almost 4.5 hours away. And we get there, and I'm setting the machine up, and I forgot the most important thing, and that's the thing for him to connect to it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Gene.
No,
You forgot
no,
the
I didn't
hookup.
forget Gene. And so, you know, I was just like, what am I going to do? Well, we're going to drive all the way back home because he has to do this every day. And so I called here to the dialysis center, and they try to find somebody. And I just got on my phone and put in DaVita, and there was a thing that was 11 miles away, but it was in Ohio because we were right on the Ohio border. And so I called the center, and this woman said, you know, I'll bring you something that you need. And when she says, I pass by that hotel every day going home, and I'll meet you there. And when she got there, she didn't have the right stuff. So she said, well, don't worry about it. And I started to cry. And she says, I know somebody else that may have what you want. And she called another center, and the lady had it. She went, she got it, she brought it back to me, would take nothing. So that's how important doing something, paying it forward, is to me, because there was a connection there for her to have to be on her way home, passing that hotel, knowing what I needed, or knowing someone to have what I needed. And so I hope that we all will do something nice for someone else. And the date is August the 8th through the 22nd, but it's all year. You do it all the time, but this is just the kickoff. So thank you, Mayor. And everybody has a bottle of water that has that on it.
So you just had to make us cry after all these nice things we did right tonight, didn't you? It is something in it, what people do. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Last week, the Kentucky Association of Chief of Police were in Owensboro and got to be at the banquet. It was really honored to have our Chief of Police sworn in as president. It was a great event. Also this weekend, I spent some time at Legion Park, one of the shelters, and I got to tell you, our parks are great. With the kids, the spray park and everything, it was just amazing. So if you haven't taken advantage of our shelters and what we have to offer, I would hope you would do that. And man, the dog park is huge, and it's looking good. So, thank you, Mayor.
Was that meant to say something to me?
No, I was meant to say this thing, you can bring some pretty big, good-sized dogs in there.
He looked right at me and called me a big dog, didn't he? Commissioner Sanford.
Tomorrow was the first day of school, so everybody slow down a little bit on the streets. Kids are going to be walking around and going to first day of school, so take your time, be careful, watch out for these little kids on your way and your way home, because it's going to be a little bit of change. So slow down a minute and just watch where you're going and have a good school year. That's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Condor.
Thank you, Mayor. The
welcome.
bookend right off of Commissioner Sanford's little comment about school starting tomorrow. At 7:15 at Faust, they have been doing this every year for some time now, where people can come and welcome the children that come into Faust. And it's really awesome to see the one entry where the individuals that come to this school that are disabled or handicapped, and see them light up. It's just absolutely awesome. So if you got a little time in the morning at 7:15, go down to Faust and just welcome the kids, or probably any other schools. It would be great to see them there. Amongst other things that we have going on, this not only this past week but coming up, you know, tonight you're supposed to have the National Night Out with OPD down at Moreland. I'm not for sure if that actually is getting rained out or not, but hopefully that is going on and people recognize it. We attended, Commissioner Smith Wright and myself, at Kendall Park, the Northwest Alliance, putting on their free Wi-Fi that they raised money for from not only their residents but also from the businesses. That now is the second park in our system that actually has free Wi-Fi. And it's awesome to see the people coming together to do things like that for other people. And it just truly is. The last thing is, maybe I could ask a question of potentially the city manager, is many times we get questions and comments from our constituents about what's going on in the city. But when my grandchild makes a comment to me, I kind of have to back up and say, okay, how do you answer that? And it had to do with my grandchild asking me, Papa, when are you going to get the spray park open up down at the river? I said, well, there's some things we have to work on here, but City Manager Nate Pagan, can you give us a little timeline of when that hopefully can open back up, please?
I will also look over here to my right. I believe we started applying the top level epoxy or sealant today. Is that correct?
Very good, thank you. I'll be able to tell the grandkids. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome, Commissioner. The last couple of weeks have been pretty busy in Owensboro. Obviously, we're blessed to work with the deployment of 206th Engineering Battalion overseas. And there are a lot of people that put a lot of effort into that. Our convention center folks worked tirelessly to make sure that everything was perfect. Had a lot of conversations with Colonel Lawson, Lieutenant Colonel Lawson. He was the head guy around here, and when a day or so later, I guess after they got on the ground, he texted me and says that every person that came up to him thanked him for what a wonderful send-off it was. And Barbara Bulldog Pointer, she did a great job from the Rotary with the yellow ribbons. We want to thank Independence Bank for their help with that. Airport Director Rod Barnett, he did a great job because there were so many of them they couldn't go on one plane. So there was in the 757, I don't think it was too heavy to set on one of our runways. So he did a great job of positioning all the two planes to take those folks off. And Then obviously our motorcycle veterans, they were great. The people that stood along the street waving flags, and I mean, they just felt wonderful. And there's one of the soldiers, when they were deployed the last time when I was here, we gave him a city flag to fly over his quarters overseas, and he came up to me and said, "Hey, Coach, you gonna get a flag?" And so I texted Nate, and before I could put my phone up, he found out where the flag was, and he was over there with Johnny on the spot. They were very appreciative of that. So that was a great thing for our community to do for those people that are going to be sleeping in ditches and all the other things they do over there. Last week at the Heinz Center, had a great event for puzzle pieces, and I encourage everybody to take a few minutes out of their time and go over there and see what they've got it going. And Amanda Borman, and they introduced every one of the children, young adults, however you want to do it, and they were escorted down into Heinz Center and then up the way, and as they came up through there, they all had a piece to go on this big board, and they were creating puzzle pieces, and each time they put one up, and when it got finished, it was, I mean, to see those folks just enjoy. Then they sang a song for us, and it was an emotional night, and it was long, I might add, but it was a wonderful night. And the Kentucky Association of Chiefs of Police, have you ever been to an awards dinner where they gave away 64 door prizes? Do you know how long it takes to give away 64 door prizes? And some of them had to be present to win. So call like 6 names before they finally, but they were giving away, what, 80-inch televisions and shoot-'em-up guns, and they did a great job. The vendors were really good. Then I got the opportunity to welcome the firefighters. I thought it was kind of cool. One day, Chief Mitchell's putting the ribbons of life, is that how you say it, on 5 of his folks. And the next day, our chief is being sworn in as the president of the Kentucky Association of Chiefs of Police. So that speaks so well for our first responders, and it just gives me a lot of pride to talk about that. The convention center had an event called the Cork and Cuisine, which was very well done, very well attended, helps reduce that subsidy. And Friday morning, I got to welcome, I guess it was Western Kentucky firefighters. The whole state of Kentucky. And the chief had written out a big thing to me to talk about him, but I didn't do it. So it was but it was a big couple of weeks, and I think our community did extremely well representing the first responders and our troops. And there's a thing yet to go with the troops. They're going to have troop on a stoop. And so the classroom kids in Davis County or even the city schools, they're going to adopt a troop, and they're going to, like that, what was that, elf on a shelf thing? Is that what it is, Chris? And they're going to have that troop on a stoop in their classroom until those guys come back. So, I mean, I think that's what makes us so special. I really do. Okay, next item I'm going to talk about is our city clerk has been valiantly working on trying to get some more of these world famous OBKY t-shirts. She's got a whole bunch of boxes of them. Leisure Hut, I believe, made these for us. Is that correct? So when we kicked them off at the Friday after 5, the first Friday after 5, ran out of everything except smalls. And so we got some more, and I thought it'd be nice if we just put them downstairs. Beth and I talked about it, and we purchased them for $14, and we're going to charge $14 so we can, at least break even, right? Right, Angela?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, break even. Yeah, there you go. Good. So they're going to be downstairs, so everybody's welcome to come and get a shirt. And I actually got Independence Bank to bring that T-shirt cannon thing, and the first time he shot it off, all those guys went ducking. And so we shot about 25 shirts out there for the troops to take with them, and they all promised they'd send pictures of them over there. And they went mostly to Qatar or Qatar. and hopefully we'll get some that Facebook stuff back with OBKY over there supporting our troops. $14. Do I hear $14? Anybody? Don? $14. No. Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda is open public forum. Members of the audience are invited to address the City Commission on any matter of public concern that was not on tonight's agenda. Comments are limited to issues within the scope and responsibility of this commission. Commission meetings are held to conduct city business for the benefit of all Owensboro citizens and taxpayers. At this time, anyone who wishes to speak, wishes to address the City Commission, please make their way to the podium and to be recognized. Speakers must state their name and address for the clerk's record and limit their remarks to 3 minutes or less. Since the item is not on the agenda, no response is required from the city staff or the commission. Believe you. Okay, who's up? Timmy.
Yes, sir.
Name and address for the record, please.
Tim Collier, 1828 Calhoun Street, Owensboro, Kentucky. I'm with my Brothers Keepers of Owensboro. First of all, thanks, Mayor, for allowing us to be able to speak.
You're welcome.
Thank the commissioners for being out in the public these past couple of weeks, making a face. That means a lot to us. Seeing you guys out in the crowd, you know, talking to the people, getting their concerns. Like I said, it really means a lot, and the feedback has been good on it. I just want to salute you and say thank you. I want to thank the Chief of Police for the things that he's doing in the community to help keep us safe. The flex team is working. You know, it's some of the violence has went down. You know, we ought to give them applause for that. You know, we thank you. You know, it takes all of us to help keep our city safe. And my Brothers Keepers is just doing our part. You know, at this time, I'd like to enter this proposal to the board and to the commissioners and to the mayor on our curfew, our current curfew. I'm gonna just read this off. Currently, Owensboro and Davis County has a curfew ordinance restricting minors under the age of 18 from being or remaining in public places between the hours of 1 a.m. and 5 a.m., Sunday through Saturday, with some exceptions allowed. My Brothers Keepers of Owensboro is asking the curfew time be changed from 1 a.m. to 11 p.m. It can be argued that the lack of adult supervision, little or no discipline, or little or no adult bonding can result in youth crime and violence. Supervision is the basic method used by most adults to keep children out of harm's way. While having a curfew may seem unfair and unreasonable to some, many fail to realize that curfews can be beneficial to overall well-being of teens. Curfews have many advantages, which include helping kids stay out of trouble, better time management, less sleep deprivation, and increased focus in school, to name a few. Many high-risk behaviors occur later in the evenings, and when potential supervision is not present, when a curfew is enforced consistently, there is assurance that teens will be safer in a safer environment. Curfews also help communities work to create a specific time each night when families can come together to discuss their day. Curfews helps teens to become used to setting a schedule which they routinely follow and become able to develop important time management skills which can carry into adulthood. Being able to manage time effectively is useful in a variety of situations, including school, work, and personal relationships. Curfews are a way of reinforcing the boundaries that parents set in the home, but still allow the independent spirit of teenagers as they work to discover who they are as a person. The changes that happen during the teen's life between the ages of 13 and 18 can cause them to become impulsive. They start to think about the short-term benefits of what they are doing instead of any potential long-term consequences. Even teens who earn high grades, work a job, and have their family as a top priority in their life can make potentially harmful decisions that could impact the rest of their lives. The presence of juvenile curfew provides an extra level of structure so that a random situation which could leave an adverse effect has less of the chance to happen. It is our belief that changing the curfew to 11 p.m. could benefit the youth of our community by providing safer environments, community for more adult supervision, and more structure for the kids of our city and county. We humbly ask the commission to consider changing the curfew hours.
Thank you, Tim. We'll take it under advisement.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, sir. I spoke
You'll need to bring the mic towards your mouth and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Misty Head. I live at 805 East 21st Street. I was here last month for the last meeting of the month about the house at 807 East 21st Street. Artie and the police department are trying to do what they can, but these people are breaking in houses now, hooking up to people's electricity when they're not in town. And something's got to be done with it. They ain't got electric, they ain't got water, and there's homeless people living in that garage. And somebody's going to end up getting hurt from one of these people. I've already had a dog poison and lost one. My neighbors lost 3. The kids' bicycles in the neighborhood are disappearing, and they're coming in with all kinds of them.
Well, we're on top of it, and the chief been keeping us informed about what's going on, so
Well,
it's not an easy problem to solve.
Oh, I know that. You know, when they start breaking into people's houses and stealing stuff like that, it's not fair.
I agree.
They done it. It started November 2nd when my husband, Robert Head, died. They were stealing electricity then. From the same neighbor they're stealing it from now, only on the outside. Now they're breaking in the house and going in, dragging cords to the inside. I did, and Yuri was with me last night, and I spoke to Linda Huff, Gene's daughter that lives in Chicago, and I told her, I said, the locks are broken. I went down there with a drill and some screws and secured those 2 windows in that bedroom. But I don't think it's going to stop with them.
Okay. We'll keep an eye on it best we can.
I appreciate it, but I mean, before it's all over with, I know they're going to end up hurting somebody.
All right.
I'm not safe in my own home, and I know this. That's why I had a friend and her 2 grandsons move in with me. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I went and bought me a game because I don't feel safe.
All right. I understand.
But I appreciate
Anybody else? Welcome.
My name is Wanda Hips, and I live at 708 Shelbourne Drive here in town. For 4 years, I've had a deadly piece of concrete of part of the sidewalk in front of my house that I've tried to get something done about. The whole block has sunk in the middle, broke into pieces. You can see down in there, there's no bottom to where it goes, and it's a deadly piece of property, and somebody's going to get hurt or killed if they happen to be standing on it when that falls in. Heaven knows where they're going. I've tried 4 years to get somebody to do something about it, but they can't. I'm still waiting.
Okay. We got your address. We'll take a look at it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? All right, well, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Discussion about that? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned.